How'd you like to get Ben Burns, Jazz Ray, and Brian Power for the next 3 days for the price of one? For 2 decades, Covers.com ranked among the biggest pick-selling websites on the internet. Last July, they stopped selling picks, and at that time, their 3 most popular handicappers were Ben Burns, Brian Power, and Jazz Ray. With WagerTalk being the industry leader, it was only natural for those 3 esteemed handicappers to go exclusive with us. They all bring extremely impressive resumes to the table. While they're here because of their long-term excellence, all 3 have turned plenty of heads since their arrival. Jazz ranked among the best handicappers on the entire site in 2022. Brian is our #1 handicapper in March, and Ben quickly established himself as this season's #1 big game college hoops handicapper. For the first time ever, you can get all the picks from Ben, Brian, and Jazz for the price of only one of them. This amazing offer won't last, as you can get 3 days of picks regularly priced at $59 each, which is $177 for all 3, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $35 for only $655 per handicapper. That's right, $59 for all 3 cappers for all 3 days. Take advantage today.
Welcome everybody to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. He is Teddy Covers. The madness continues. Big day on Thursday, and we got the right guest, Teddy. Who is on the show? What are we talking about? And highlight your big game breakdown. Why not?
Sure. Rob Veno is going to lead us off today. He's going to talk some Sweet 16 action, Kansas State and Michigan State, as well as some NBA for tonight, the LA Clippers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Our second guest will be Carmine Bianco. He's going to break down a couple in the NHL for this evening. The New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes, as well as the Winnipeg Jets and the Anaheim Ducks. My big game breakdown, we're going Sweet 16 action tonight, Tennessee and Florida Atlantic. And, of course, we'll have Skee Profit to close out the show. He's going to break down the NBA for us, the Knicks and the Magic, as well as the Clippers and the Thunder. So there you have it. The show set up. Let's get right into it on a Sweet 16 Thursday.
Teddy, it feels like there's 4 college basketball games going tonight. We're missing discussing 2 of them. I'm going to throw them at you if you want later on in the show. Yeah, I know. It's all me.
We've done our best throughout the course of the week to go through all the games in the Sweet 16. So I know there were shows you weren't here this week. You can always go back. Every show that we do is archived and available wherever you watch us. You can find yesterday's show, the day before show, the show before that. You can see all the breakdowns that we've done on Sweet 16 games throughout the course of the week.
Brother, you've been rolling in the NBA, done well in the madness so far. What do you got going for the clients today?
I have a single best bet for tonight's Sweet 16. I am not yet posting the NBA, and I'm not convinced I will. It may well be a pass for me tonight in the association. If I do put any NBA up, it'll be right after the show. How about you, Lawrence? I know you want to promote. Knock yourself out. What do you got going tonight? Do you have a 5% big ticket going tonight?
Oh, yeah, baby. 5%. It's not a big, I call my 5% main events, but whatever. Those are just names. I remember when somebody wanted to use big ticket, you called me up. I've been using big ticket for 20 million years. Anyway, I got a huge card going. I got 1 NHL play up. I'm on a 7-2 run. I got 1 NBA total up. I'm on a 30-13 run. And I got 2 college basketball plays, including a 5%. I have not lost a 5% play yet this year in college hoops, so I'm super pumped. Let's bring Robert Veno in. Rob Veno, man, it is a good day when you're around.
Today.
I'm doing good, Teddy.
Just fine, thank you. We'll talk about how I'm doing when we talk about what bettors learned last night.
Okay, so that doesn't sound so good, Rob. Kansas State, beautiful win last weekend. They're playing Michigan State. I had a 5% on Michigan State last week. real nail biter until the end. Now they're playing each other. It's a 6:30 p.m. Eastern game. +1 for KSU, a total of 138.5. Watching that Michigan State defense, you got to think, who the hell's getting anywhere near that score? But Rob, where are you going in this game?
Well, to me, Prez, this was one of the more difficult games of the Sweet 16 to handicap. I think full game play, I would lean Michigan State in this one. First, we'll just go over the tournament competition so far. I have to give an edge to Michigan State and what they've been able to do in their first two rounds. They get by USC, not just get by, but they beat them by 10. In that contest, they're at a pretty significant size disadvantage. They still manage to only get out rebounded by 2 and win the game by 10. Good job by Michigan State. And then on one-day preparation, they come back and beat Marquette, the Big East champion, by 9. Kind of surprising to some. Again, as you mentioned, Prez, their defense was the star of that game. They got outscored from the three-point arc 33-6, minus 27 from 3, and still won a contest by 9. That's pretty difficult to do. They were good from 2-point range. They won the free throw line by 10. In Kansas State's situation, they definitely outclassed Montana State. Okay. And then they beat Kentucky by 6. Despite the fact that Oscar Tshiebwe went crazy in that game, K-State was able to overcome all else in that contest. And Kentucky only had one day for my next fundamental matchup here. And what I think is the key to this game, they only had one day to prepare for K-State point guard Marquise Noel. Marquise Noel, I think the nation knows him now. If they didn't prior to the start of this tournament, a 5'8" point guard who is the absolute engine, the key to the engine for K-State. And guys, second time around in the Big 12 season, Big 12 teams started to figure out how to defend Kansas State. And it was by running double teams at Noel and just trying to cut the head off the snake, so to speak. And they became pretty successful at not totally containing, but lessening Kansas State's production on offense. Tom Izzo's had 4 days to get ready for this. Now, that's important in itself, that he's had 4 days to prep for a defense for Noel. It's even more significant when I look back and see that he only had 1 day to get ready for Tyler Kolek of Marquette, who was the Big East Player of the Year as a point guard. And they totally shut him down. Only 7 points for the game for Kolek in that one. He was not a factor, whatever. And I don't know that Noel will be a full game factor here either. So fundamentally, I think Michigan State probably has an edge. They're a far better three-point shooting team. They're going to run 3 guys out there that all shoot over 40% from 3. They're number 6 in the nation in that department. If it comes down to a late shot, I'd rather have Michigan State. They didn't shoot well in the previous game. I think 2 of 16 from 3. So you look for a bounce back. The 3 main guys on that team go 1 for 11 in that contest. You start adding all this up. I think Kansas State might take Michigan State maybe by surprise a little bit. First half, K-State's been ahead at the first half of both of their games. But full game, second half adjustments included, I figure Tom Izzo comes out of here on top. I'm not buying totally into the you have to bet Tom Izzo theory, guys, but I do think that this matchup has one significant piece that he has to try and contain. I think they can do it. They've definitely got the guards to do so. I'm going to try Michigan State -1 here.
So we talk a lot about coaching in the NCAA tournament, and this is an opinion question for you, Rob Veno.
Sure.
In my opinion, a coaching mismatch is more important, or a coaching edge is more important with the short turnaround. We talk about the weekend games, the third, play on Thursday, play again on Saturday. When you have the short turnaround, you talk about how well Sparty did in that situation defensively. And when you give both coaches a chance to go home and develop game plans, the coaching edge gets minimized as opposed to when you have to put a game plan together in 48 hours and get on the floor. Would you agree with that assessment? Do you think the coaching edges are bigger for the weekend games, or do you think they're better for the Thursday, Friday?
Well, let's put it this way. They're far more difficult when you only have 1 day. So I think when you get a result like Tom Izzo got against Tyler Kolek of Marquette, it's extremely impressive. And you're right, Teddy. I mean, I didn't mention Jerome Tang once in that because we don't have all day, and I don't want to offend Prez here by talking all day. But Jerome Tang certainly has had 4 days, and he knows what Tom Izzo's going to do, right? So if you're him, and again, they don't pay me to coach the Kansas State team, but if I were him, I'd try and go up tempo and stay away from the half-court defense as much as I can. So he's certainly going to make his moves. Izzo will make his. I think when push comes to shove, Michigan State personnel-wise has more weapons, more options, more diversity, and they'll probably be the team that wins this game. But again, 1 point number indicates it's going to be right down to the wire, right?
Rob Veno joining us, everyone. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And Teddy, that was a great question. And I was actually thinking about that while Rob was speaking. And it's not only on short rest, Rob and Teddy. I think as we get deeper into the tournament, these coaches with a lot of experience, I think it helps a lot here. Rob, let's look at the Oklahoma City Los Angeles Clippers game. Here we have an OKC team 42 and 29. No, 43 and 26 ATS. 43 and 26 ATS. They have covered 8 of their last 10. Now they're a dog. They're playing the Clippers. I don't know how anyone can get in the way of this OKC team. How are you betting this?
Let me be that guy, Prez. I'll stand in front of it in this particular instance. And Thunder, to cap off what you were saying, Prez, they're 3-0 against the LA Clippers this season. So they've certainly had their number. Clippers, obviously, without Paul George. Guys, this number's moved quite a bit, right? But the opener was 2. And when I saw the opener, I thought this was, quite the over-adjustment to the Paul George injury. The other night, LA Clippers opened up -7. In this instance, they open up -2. So, in essence, they're telling you Paul George is worth 5 points. The way he played the other night, he wasn't worth 5 points. He wasn't very helpful to the Clippers' cause the other night. So maybe without him, a team with the depth that they have is able to come through here. But it's a second of back-to-backs. You lose one at home, and not back-to-back nights, but back-to-backs in 3 days. The NBA has done a lot of that these past couple of seasons. You lose to Oklahoma City the other night straight up. I'd expect a bounce back from the Clippers here. The Clippers did everything wrong the other night and still only lost by 1. And they outshot Oklahoma City and found a way to lose. They only shot 12 of 21 from the free throw line, 57%. This is a team that shoots almost 80 on the season. But they failed at the free throw line. They wound up losing. Again, Paul George was one of the culprits in that. They got out-rebounded by Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is number 26 in the NBA in rebound percentage. There's no way a team with Zubats and Plumlee is supposed to get out-rebounded. I think they'll probably correct that. One thing that they did really well, that if they do it again, they will win tonight, is they kept Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, off the free throw line. This is a guy who's been getting to the free throw line double-digit times every single night. He only gets there 7 times. The other game, Tuesday night, 6-4-7 from the free throw line. If they can do that again, I think they win. They go 6 for 31, the Clippers do, from 3-point range. Again, they're the 7th best 3-point shooting team in the NBA. So some of these numbers have to come back to the norm. And in the NBA, Teddy, I know you'll vouch for it, these teams that play without star players, you bet against them, they win anyway. It doesn't matter. If the star goes down, the team wins. I like the Clippers here, guys. I think the situation's good. I think they correct some of the flaws from the other night. The total went way under the other night. Maybe it stays under again. Maybe the Clippers try to play a little slower. But I do like them here, minus the 4.5 points. I think they'll win this one by more than that number.
So the Clippers certainly have the depth to overcome a Paul George injury. My question for you, Rob, has to do with the Clippers' mentality. Because Paul George is hurt. Yeah. This team was built to compete for titles. Paul George is hurt. They're not competing for a title. They're not. They can say whatever they want to say. I think inside they know that this injury probably just killed their season. Do you worry about the psychological effect on the Clippers, given the nature of that injury that just killed their year? Or is this just standard NBA? The guy gets hurt, you bet on him the next game. No muss, no fuss. That has been a very profitable strategy. But in this instance, are we concerned, given the late time of the year for this injury and given the fact that it just killed their season, legitimately?
Yeah, 3 weeks without him is what I saw. That's going to be it's going to hinder where they end up in the minimum in the standings. I'll say this, Teddy: the LA Clippers, when you talk about between the ears and mindset, might be the hardest team to read in the NBA. I really never know what to believe. Ty Lue doesn't speak too much. Kawhi Leonard's quotes are all nice heading into this game. Next man up, all that standard stuff. Who knows what to read into that? What I do believe they'll go out and play with energy, though. Again, the situation's second home game in a row after losing to this team the other night. And because, as the favorite twice in a row, I think sets up well for LAC. We're going to find out. But as far as mindset is concerned with them, I could tell you 20 other teams I could probably have a better read on than the LA Clippers. I just never know where they stand.
Right, and yet here he is giving out his opinion on the LA Clippers. Outstanding work, Rob Veno. We love having you on, brother. What do you got to promote?
Well, let's promote college basketball, Prez. It's been a heck of a season here, up over 62 units of profit, 5-0 the last couple of days. A best bet up and available right now at WagerTalk.com. That game actually goes on Friday, but there are 2 plays for this evening in college hoop up and available. You can get them now at WagerTalk.com. The one tomorrow, the best bet, is a total where this season in college hoop, we have put up the number 1 record in college basketball totals at Wager Talk, so you want to take a look at that one. Once again, get all the work at WagerTalk.com.
Nice stuff, Rob Veno, everyone. Guys, we got a big show still coming. We're only a third of the way through. Teddy covers. What did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
So I had a frustrating night in the association last night. I wanted to talk about it.
You could have just stopped.
Mistakes.
You could. I'm interrupting.
What's that? I'm sorry, Lawrence.
I was interrupting, saying you could have just stopped after you had a frustrating night last night. It's you, Teddy. You're walking frustration. Frustration called, and they want their bloody name back. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and learn from the man. Go ahead.
Let's talk about what I learned last night. And it was a frustrating night for me in the association. I wanted to talk about it. All right. And I made 2 mistakes, more than 2, probably, if I add them all up, because there's games I should have played that I didn't. But I made 2 plays. I went back and forth debating Warriors -2 versus Warriors money line, Warriors -2 versus Warriors money line. And I'm like, they just snapped an 11-game skid. I can't really lay 130 on the road asking the team to win. They're going to win. They're going to win by 2 or more. And, of course, the meaningless Bullock 3 at the buzzer. Of course, Dallas saved their timeout for when they were down 5 with 1.7 seconds left. I always love when the coaches do that. But, of course, the meaningless Bullock 3 ended up being a push in that game. I should have won it, but I didn't. The second was a bad handicap. I've been cashing with Utah as a dog. I've been fading the Blazers in all kinds of different roles. But now Utah was laying points, and the Blazers were in true desperation mode. And when a team has a terrible homestand and they go on the road and face a lesser opponent, it's a completely different scenario. It's not a subtle difference. It was a bad handicap. So Miami has been rolling. I mean, it's been rolling for more than a year. It's been rolling the last 3 weeks really well. I'm still at 76% over the last 3 weeks, even after last night. I'm not going to let one bad night snap this skid, but one thing you do in this spot, Prez, today's card in the NBA, I didn't love anything. We're going to pass today. We'll see if we can come back tomorrow strong. That's what I learned last night. Back to you, Mr.
So I want to talk about this because this is great stuff, and I have some thoughts as well. So when you say you made a mistake, are you going back and looking at your handicap at the end of the night? Or how
Every
are you
day.
decide? So explain, because I want to go through my process right after. Explain yours really quick, because this is really important stuff for a lot of the amateur bettors.
So I do a post-mortem every night. Pretty much, I can't say I do it every night, 365 nights a year. There's some days I do it the next morning. But I go through what I bet and what I didn't bet. I take my short list. Did we make good decisions off the short list? Did we make bad decisions off the short list? How did you pick this game? How did you not pick that game? We just go through the process. We take a look at the games that we actually bet. Was it a good bet? Did we get lucky? We grade the bet more in here than on, was it an A? Was it a B? Did you do a good job? Did you do a bad job? What can we let? But most importantly is not about ripping yourself and ripping yourself a new a-hole when you make a mistake. The important thing, for me at least, is getting as much knowledge as you possibly can out of any given night that'll help you moving forward. And the postmortem is something that I do. I mean, I started doing it, I think, my first year in Vegas, and I've been doing it ever since, and it behooves the process for me.
Right.
What about you?
Right. For me, it's slightly different. It more is about what happens before the games actually begin. So if you take a slate of games, what I'm doing is I'm going through every game, I'm handicapping them. And if I decide, whatever I decide, I try to come up with one sentence on why I'm not going to bet that game. And I put it down on a piece of paper. Oh, they're on a back-to-back. Let's use NHL. They're on a back-to-back. It's a backup goalie. They just scored 7 goals last night, and they're going to have a slow night tonight. Whatever it might be, I found that, and this was about 10 years ago, I found that I would get so mad at myself. Why didn't I release that? Hindsight was driving me bonkers. So I wanted to get rid of hindsight. So now I start writing why I am not betting this game, why I'm not betting that game. And then I can go back at the end of the night, and when I sit there and say, oh my God, why didn't I take the New York Islanders over the Leafs? I knew they were going to win, and then they win 7-3, and then I'm mad at myself. I go back and I look and I read, I didn't take the New York Islanders over the Leafs because of X, Y, Z. So that's sort of how I approach it. And it wasn't as much about handicapping as it was about emotional calm. I needed emotional calm in the process.
That's an issue for you.
You think? Anyway, Anthony Thornhill writes, Prez, is there a way to tell on the site who had the best percentages in different sports in the past? I'm thinking of getting a baseball package, but I want to pretty much set it and forget it. So, Anthony, firstly, especially when you're talking money line sports like baseball, it's not about the best percentage. It's about the best win-loss units, how much profit was made unit-wise. If you do email customer service, they will provide you with all that info. But just briefly looking at last year, Tony Finn was the number one handicapper, profit-wise, 83 units made in baseball. Las Vegas, Chris made 74 units. Jazzy Ray, 73 units. Adam Trigger, 69 units. Jimmy Adams, 54 units. Steve Merrill, myself, Drew Martin, Dave Koken, and on, all made profit as well. But if you email in to customer service, they will provide you with that info. Teddy?
You can also just go to WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo.com. Click on the leaderboard tool right on the homepage. Click over to MLB, and you can see our leaders in MLB at WagerTalk or SportsMemo.com. You don't have to contact anyone. You do that right from the homepage at either website.
Yeah, but contacting the WagerTalk customer service is a pleasurable experience. Nobody on the site contacts the WagerTalk customer service more than the great Carmine Bianco. Carm, how are you, my friend? I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, and my heart is empty for it.
Yeah, and you're enjoying 28 days away skiing. But no, I want to say, because you guys were discussing it about reviewing your plays. It is so important. I've been doing that with NHL at the not only at the end of the night, but the next day, because the next day you can see the analytical numbers. And it's just like, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, I reviewed, I think I had I think it was Monday, a 1-3 night. And I'm like, okay, what went wrong with these 4 plays? Because I watched the games and I would play them again, then reviewed the analytical numbers. And it just backed up that I thought what I thought were the plays were right, was the wrong outcomes. Like the Going quickly, the Pittsburgh Ottawa game. Ottawa starts he makes his first start. Dylan Ferguson. They get 49 shots on goal. Pittsburgh does and lose the game 2-1. The final analytical numbers, I had the over in that game, were added up to almost 8 goals should have been scored. But it's an outlier of a game where you draw a line through it. The guy played his eyeballs out, stood on his head. And would I play it again? Absolutely. But the result didn't go my way. And I watch a ton of hockey. So it's always good because then the worst way to get into a losing streak is to question yourself and not find the answers. And then all of a sudden change your technique. And all of a sudden, one bad night rolls into 7 bad nights, rolls into a bad month, and your clients aren't happy. So Teddy's got it right. Do a post-mortem on your plays. And if you're doing it right, you may have those blips where you have 1 or 2 days in a row where you lose, but long term, you're going to make money. And that's what this game is about.
Yeah. That is for sure. Good point, Carm. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that like button. Greatly appreciated. Make sure to comment in the comment section as well. Carm, tonight we have the New York Rangers playing Carolina Hurricanes. 3-2 in their last game. Now Carolina, which won that last game, is at home -140. There's no reason these two teams won't be seeing themselves in late April. So how do we handicap this game?
Yeah, this is one that we covered on Puck Time today, but we also covered it on Tuesday. And it was one in which, the Rangers had won the first 2 games of the series by 6-2 and 5-3 margins. And those games did not play the way they would normally play. These two teams normally play closer games, lower scoring games. And I expected to see that in New York. I thought Carolina could go in there and come away with a low scoring victory. And that's exactly what they did, winning that game 3-2. Now it's the flip side. They go back to Carolina here, and the Canes are 11-3-1 their last 15 at home, playing extremely well. One of those losses was to the Rangers in those aforementioned score lines, the 6-2 one. And the Rangers had started fantastic on the road this season. They were playing terrible at home, and that's sort of flipped now. They're playing much better at home. Shesterkin, who had that Vezina Trophy, I think, hangover this year, had a bad start to the year, which is why the Rangers had a bad start. But he's been playing lights out. He is a confirmed starter for tonight. He's 6-2 in March with a 2.22 goals against average, and that's his second best month so far. I think only December was a better month at 7-2-2 with a 2.14 goals against average. And it's likely Freddie Anderson in goal. He's having his second best month as well too in March because they're starting to play playoff hockey now. These teams. You look at it, and I'm looking at the under here. The under is 6. It's shaded 25 cents to the under now at 6. And these are two teams that would normally, the total would be at 5.5. When they played that 5-3 game earlier this season, that total was 5.5 -106 to the under. When they played the following game, everyone thought an under again, and the total was at 6 -106 to the over. They're making you pay a full 25 cents on the under 6 this game, and rightfully so, because I think the books expect that this is going to be a low-scoring affair, similar to what we saw on Tuesday, with not a lot of chances. And then again, the importance of these teams picking up points. They really buckle down in that third period in low-scoring games. Even if they get to OT, they're picking up a point, which is huge at this time, especially when you're looking at the number 1 and number 2 seeds in the Metro, which Carolina is aiming for. I'm expecting a low-scoring game. I don't want to lay the 150 with the Canes. I'd rather take the under 6 here and lay the 25-cent juice.
And it looks like there is some urgency to that under. I'm seeing 5.5 just popped up at DraftKings, 5.5 just popped up at Play MGM. I'm seeing 5.5s popping up in the global community as well. So if you like that Rangers Hurricanes under, bet it sooner rather than later and get the 6. Let's talk a little West Coast NHL action. The Anaheim Ducks, they've been pretty awful, and the markets are saying that they're pretty awful. Winnipeg, -230, -240 on the road. Total of 6, juice to the over. What are we going to do with the Jets and the Ducks?
Yeah, the Ducks season's been over since you could argue November, early December of last season. They've been getting roasted. They're not a very good team, and they're probably trying to prepare themselves for trying to win or finish in the bottom three and get that first best percentage for that first pick in the draft, which obviously is Connor Bedard, who's a generational talent. But I've been fading this Ducks team, and when you're looking to fade a team, and you see these lines of minus 230, 240, there's other ways of betting them. On Tuesday, I took the Calgary Flames in I thought, a great spot in Anaheim against the Ducks, but I took them in regulation. They were minus 130 in that, and the Ducks just didn't show up. The Flames easily won that game 5-1, and I'm thinking the same thing for the the Jets team here. This is a Jets team that are smack dab in the middle of a playoff race for a wild card spot. 10 games left. They've got a 4-point lead on the Calgary Flames. And of their final 10 games, 6 of them are against non-playoff teams, with the Calgary Flames being one of them. So these are games in which they need to win. The games against 3 of their next 4 games are against Anaheim, San Jose, and Detroit. Those are games where they cannot drop points and need wins. And they've already beaten the Ducks twice, both games in regulation, 5-2 and 3-2. And that's where I'm looking here. I'm looking to take the Jets in regulation. You're only laying $1.30 here. And I think it's the right play. This is a Jets team that need the points, are playing well enough, and it's a straight fade on the Anaheim Ducks, who just didn't show up in their last game. And I think they've pretty much packed it up for the season. They're playing it out. And you don't play defense when you're playing out the rest of the season. You know you're going to finish in the sort of the bottom 2-3. These guys want to head into golf season injury-free, so they don't play a physical game. Jets minus 130 is the right play here tonight in regulation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you anymore, Carm. 4-1 total, so throw a little bit on the 4-1 exact score. Carmine Bianco, everyone. Guys, Carmine has an all-access pass promo for you all. Use the promo code ALL100. You get 30-day all-access pass for $199. That's promo code ALL100. Dude is up 59 units of profit since November 1st. Carm, congratulations on that beautiful run, man. Anything else?
I know the 4 Euro qualifying starts today. All the qualifying for the next tournament, soccer. So some afternoon action if you're looking for it. I got 4 games up and 4 plays up in the NHL. So grab that all access package, because there's going to be a lot of plays over the next 30 days for me across different sports. And that's pretty much it. If you want just today's plays, the 1-day all access, $39 gets you 8 plays, and I might add some player props, which have been going extremely well for me in the NHL this season.
Nice. Carmine Bianco, everyone. Daniel, no commercial break. Teddy, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, that sounded convincing. Dan, cue it up.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some Sweet 16 Thursday night, Tennessee and Florida Atlantic. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now, I'm seeing the Vols, let's call them minus 5.5. That's pretty much across the board. Total 129.5. That total's been bet down. Every sharp dollar has come on the under for this ball game for a bevy of reasons. Look, under in the big dance. 52 games so far, 35-17 to the under. All right. That's a significant sample. It's not a huge sample size, but it's a significant trend so far in this tournament. I wouldn't expect it to change overnight. The Vols, as sharp a dichotomy as you can find. Since February 1st, when they allow 60 or more points, they're 0-7 straight up. They're 7-0 straight up when they don't. Clearly, for Tennessee, holding their opponent under 60 is a huge factor here. The over-under for Florida Atlantic, the team total, sitting at 62.5 for this one. Tennessee's 2-0 to the under so far in this tournament. They've allowed 55 and 52 points allowed. And look, when you go through Florida Atlantic's schedule, they have not seen a lot of defenses like Tennessee. I don't even know if they've seen any defenses like Tennessee. FAU is not a team that needs to run, though. They're very comfortable playing a slow-paced game in half-court sets. They, too, an elite defensive squad. When you look at their numbers compared to what their opponents normally shoot, away from home, they've allowed 39% shooting for the season against teams that shoot better than 44%. That's 5 points better. Impressive numbers in that regard defensively for the Owls. I am not expecting this game to be anyone running away with it. I'm not expecting this game to be played with any pace, and I think the buckets here are going to be hotly contested. Expect another NCAA tournament under tonight for Tennessee and FAU to stay under 129.5. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Let's bring Skee in right away. My brother, Skee, what's going on, man? It looks like, you're celebrating last night's Laker win. I was on them. I released them to my clients. I celebrated.
Absolutely. I was enjoying it out at the casino, and I had a pretty good day yesterday. I went 7-1 in the association. So I'm a happy man.
Nice.
You're a happy man for yesterday, and we'll try to keep that rolling into today.
Skee Profits, everybody. Are you also doing the madness?
I do a little bit of college basketball around this time. I'm mostly interested in the UCLA game, but also a game for tomorrow. I know I didn't put on this program to talk about any college, but if you want to talk a little UCLA, I'd be down.
Go.
All right. So once again, I'm not the biggest college guy. I'm not Adam Trigger over here on a 13-0 run, but I do watch a lot of UCLA basketball. I'm from LA. I follow them year in and year out, and I feel like so far they haven't even really played the best kind of game in the tournament. Like Tiger, he's 2 for 16 so far, and I look at the Gonzaga team, they haven't covered one spread. I feel like, I've seen Drew Timme over there for year after year. And I think that Adam Bona can guard him one-on-one. And if you can do that, you're not going to be leaving the three-point shooters open for Gonzaga. And if UCLA can play the strong defense that I've seen them play a couple times this year, they should be able to get the job done. In the games that I've seen Gonzaga lose, they were held, below 74. And I think 4 losses that I counted up. And I think UCLA can do that. So I like the UCLA side. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Skee says, take a look at the UCLA Bruins tonight as short favorites against Gonzaga. Let's talk a little NBA. That's your bread and butter. You're obviously coming off a 7-1 night last night, seeing it fairly well. Nice call on the Lakers. Nice call on the Nuggets. Tonight, we have the Knicks on the second of back-to-backs off a high-scoring affair in Miami last night. They're taking on the Orlando Magic, who've been point spread darlings for extended stretches this season. Knicks, let's call them -3.5. Total's been bet down a little bit. We're seeing 228s right now. What do we do with the Knicks and the Magic?
I'll start off this breakdown with the query, and then I'll tell you why it makes sense. We'll look since 2017. Road favorites off of a loss and at a rest disadvantage. They're 33-11, which is 75% against the spread versus less than 45% win teams who are off of a win. And that makes sense because the better team is hungry off of a loss, while the home dog is satisfied off of a win. And that's exactly what we have here for New York. They probably feel like, the 57-point game for Julius Randle a couple games ago, they could have won. The game versus the Heat where they came back and took the lead just previous game, they could have won. Now, they're 2 games from being out in the play-in. They got to start winning these games. So I think they're the hungrier team. They're the better team. If I look at last 5 game stats, they're top 5 offensive rated team compared to bottom 10 for Orlando. They've been the better rebounding team as well. They just need to fix the defense. And I've mentioned before, Coach Tibbs is a defensive-minded coach. I think after a couple of performances, giving up 120 plus, he'll have them, looking to play a little bit better here tonight. And the reason I don't take the Knicks in the first half, I know they've been great for the past couple of years in the first half. It's more so at home. Maybe this year, for sure this year, but maybe in the past as well. I have them 18-19 in the first half against the spread on the road. So on the full game, however, full season, they're 22-14 straight up, 24-12 against the spread. -3, -3.5 is pretty much just asking them to win. I think they get the job done here tonight versus a lesser Orlando Magic team.
Skee says, take a look at the Knicks minus the points. All the sharp money has come for New York this morning. Orlando, however, has covered each of the last 4 times as underdogs. Let's shift focus to the West Coast and look at the Clippers and the Thunder. Rob Veno broke this game down earlier on the show. I'm interested in your take on OKC and LAC. Right now, -4, 232. What do we do with this one?
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with anything Rob said there earlier, but I'll take a look at the total. And first off, it's 2 active systems or queries, however you want to call it, that I like in this game. First, we're looking at road teams on the front end of a back-to-back. They are 26, 11, and 1 to the under. That's about a little bit over 70%. And that's in conference games after the last meeting this season went under. If you just separate that into a couple of different categories, if you look at the high totals that have been played there, totals greater than 228, since November, they are 13, 1, and 1 to the under. If you look at the games played after All-Star break, the games that matter more down the stretch where these teams really care, they're 12 and 3 to the under, which is 80%. So I like that. And then a system where if you guys follow me, you guys know these teams just played not too long ago. The system is for them to play within a week. The first game went under. The bookmakers come and adjust the second total lower. That's them telling you they expect it to be a lower scoring game. I have it as 143, 86, and 7 to the under, which is a little bit above 62%. And likewise to what I said about the last query, if it's a conference game after All-Star break, those games that matter a little bit more for both teams, fighting for position, it improves to 65.3%. So I like that. I do know the Thunder play a little bit more up-tempo, but the Clippers do not. The Clippers will be missing they'll be missing one of their main scorers in Paul George tonight. And both of these teams, last 5 games, are top 5 defensive rated teams. So all of that lines up for me to take under 232 and a half.
Yeah, no, I mean, these 2 teams just spent 37 points under 238. When you talk about the adjustment that the markets have made, I mean, we're talking, a week and a half ago, we're talking about a 6-point adjustment. Is that Paul George? Is that pace? Is that a big enough adjustment? Is that too big an adjustment? Give me your thoughts on that, on how much the markets have moved in a week's time on the total between these 2.
Well, a good amount can be pace. A good amount can be Paul George. You see, when these teams just played, the line was closer to, I think, 7 or maybe 7.5, something like that. And now it came out around 3 or 2. So I think a big part of, what they're expecting with the total has to do with him, but also just how they've been playing lately. I mentioned the defensive rating. If you look at both of these teams the last 2 weeks, they're combined 9 and 4 to the under. And those games aren't averaging that many points. They're combining to average 219.4. So they have to bring this total down. The Clippers all year long have been an under team on the road, 26 and 9 to the under. They have no choice after what they saw last game. And I think it's still going to slide under that number tonight.
Skee Profits. What do you got to promote?
I do have 3 plays so far in the association. It doesn't mean that would be all I play, but it's my favorite 3 plays that are up and available at WagerTalk.com right now. And I just want to mention, Prez, starting to learn a little bit of hockey. I've made 3 hockey bets this year, and I'm 3-0, and I'm targeting another hockey bet for next Thursday. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, I will. Thank you for joining us, brother. Skee Profit, everybody. Teddy covers. We did get over 100 likes. One of our listeners, Schmidt, says if we get 200 likes, the press should give out his 5% on air. Okay, done. We're at 106. We have 1 minute left to go. You get to 200, and I'll give it out on air. Dan, cue it up, baby. All right, guys, it's time for your daily presidential address, and I've got 3 NHL bets for you tonight that you must bet. Before we get into that, I got to tell you guys, I have a 5% college basketball play going tonight. 5%. I am perfect in these plays on the entire college basketball season. I have not lost one. I've won both mine last week. I also have another college basketball play. I have an NBA play. It's a total, and I'm on a 30 and 13 run in those. And I have an NHL play, and I'm on a 7 and 2 run. Robert Martinez asks, Prez, give us a hint what game your 5% is in. You nailed the write-up on your last one with Sparty. I nailed my write-up on this one too, Robert, and my hint in college basketball. Okay, time for your 3 bets. I like the Minnesota Wild tonight, guys. Philadelphia Flyers have not won 2 games in a row since January 4th. Minnesota's playing really good hockey, maybe the best hockey stretch they've played all year. Take the Minnesota Wild. The Panthers are playing the Leafs tonight. I love the Panthers here. I'm betting against my home team. Bad spot for the Leafs. Go Florida. And Tampa Bay, Ottawa are playing against each other. I love the under game. Teddy covers. They tried so hard to 200. The amount of likes that they were hitting was insane. They didn't make it. Take us home.
Thank you for all the likes. That being said, we appreciate them very much, even though you didn't get Prez's 5% play for nothing. You can pick that up over at WagerTalk.com. That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition. We'll do it again tomorrow on Friday. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast. Noon for you back east. Know what to do. Enjoy the games. Bet responsibly. And best of luck with all your wagers.
How'd you like to get Ben Burns, Jazz Ray, and Brian Power for the next 3 days for the price of one? For 2 decades, Covers.com ranked among the biggest pick-selling websites on the internet. Last July, they stopped selling picks, and at that time, their 3 most popular handicappers were Ben Burns, Brian Power, and Jazz Ray. With WagerTalk being the industry leader, it was only natural for those 3 esteemed handicappers to go exclusive with us. They all bring extremely impressive resumes to the table. While they're here because of their long-term excellence, all 3 have turned plenty of heads since their arrival. Jazz ranked among the best handicappers on the entire site in 2022. Brian is our #1 handicapper in March, and Ben quickly established himself as this season's #1 big game college hoops handicapper. For the first time ever, you can get all the picks from Ben, Brian, and Jazz for the price of only one of them. This amazing offer won't last, as you can get 3 days of picks regularly priced at $59 each, which is $177 for all 3, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $35 for only $655 per handicapper. That's right, $59 for all 3 cappers for all 3 days. Take advantage today.